Hey everybody, SpeedBump big race night, Magic Castle for $100. Starting real soon.
So much setup.
Lots of new world records, too many to even. We have a new any percent. We have new category percents on each one, and I think there is a new category of getting every single thing done like we did last week. Is done really
Feels like
fast.
most people got new PBs as well. We've got a lot of new, fresh PBs.
I don't even know which one. I mean, the most impressive one to me is probably the every event done challenge.
All tasks, yeah.
That is 100% run basically. I mean, the only thing that's not 100% about it is doing it with every class, which is just doing every task is a lot of work.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we did for our co-op run last week, and that was a lot of effort.
Yeah. So we have a 5-person race here. $100 is the only prize that will go to the winner, which is any percent. First person to kill the warlock, wizard man, knight, guy, lich, whatever he is. I think he's a warlock. I think that's what they said.
Yeah. Warlock who suspiciously only really seems to use a sword and armor, but
he teleports. That's a spell.
That's true.
All right, so we have, and he also resurrects, which is why he's a lich.
Okay.
The lich law.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, we're ready to go. I think we have 5 players. We have 2 and 3, so we'll be looking at these screens here. Moonberry, Gaffadil, and Glumbaron, and every once in a while we'll switch to the other one, which is Eric's33 and Panacea on Pana Channel, and that's who we got. That's who signed up. That's who thinks they're gonna win that. So.
All right. Well, I'll give them the countdown to get kicked off.
We're ready to go. I'll be pulling audio, and you'll be able to see whose audio it is with the little music note on screen. We'll start with Gaffadil there. Actually, that's Glumbaron. That's fine, though.
All right, I've counted them in. We should see our racers starting up right now. Now, I've pointed out to them, perhaps the most important detail is this is not a challenge to see who can get the best single run. This is truly a race. So, first person to actually finish the goal is who wins. And I've reminded them they can reset at any point. So, it's not just about seeing how far they get. If they're unhappy with how the seed is going, they can just reset and take it from the top if they want to.
That's right.
Now, it's interesting. The exact same thing happened this time as our race a few weeks ago. We're already seeing a split. You know, Gaffadil is taking Archer, which is certainly a safer character, but definitely also slower in terms of just overall time, right? Like the best fighter time, the best archer time are probably not going to be too far apart. But on average, you'd probably expect the fighter to do a little better.
I would. This is what I wasn't sure about, and I'm still not after everything. Which one of these is fastest? Let's see how the other two are doing here. We have an archer and another archer on this side as well. I'm gonna grab Eric's audio on this screen here. I think Eric's ready to go. There it is.
I think the most interesting thing has been that consistently for RTA attempts, Wizard has been the class of choice. It just seems to outclass everything. But no one's really willing to risk it on a race. It seems like it's too temperamental, too difficult to get it working. Panacea has already headed down to the basement. Basement is a time sink, but guaranteed pretty good loot, so...
Yeah, we have been doing races for the last couple months. We might go back to world records on... It's game dependent, I feel like, and this is a really good racing game, roguelike as it is.
Yeah. Especially with a roguelike, it doesn't really make sense to just ask someone to grind out a million different seeds, but more just to get good at the game and see how it works out. Our last two, like you've said, but, you know, we don't know what game is coming up next. We'll try to pick a good one, and if it seems like it'd be better for a world record challenge, then we'll do that. We're definitely not writing that off.
Yep, this is, I think this is the best racing game we've seen yet. For straight racing, it just lends itself to it so well. I will not be bumping Ty, the Tasmanian Tiger. I've seen enough of that game after 2 hours.
Yeah, don't forget, we try to pick games that haven't seen significant speedrunning attention. I mean, this one was brand new, so of course it hadn't, but in general, the stated purpose of this show is to bring a little more attention to underloved games. So, as always, you're welcome to submit your ideas. If you got a game in mind, we've got plenty to work through, but always happy to hear more ideas. They're already on the 6th floor. It feels like really good progress. I mean, they're bold to go up against their actual splits, and looks like they're keeping pace with it relatively. I mean, it always at the end of the day is going to come down to whether or not the level ups that they get, whether or not they actually get the stats they need. Because if you remember, every time you level up, the amount of stat increase you get is also slightly random.
Yes.
Comes out in the wash, but there's really no guarantee that you don't get a little bit screwed over on it.
I see it's still in the basement. Maybe they went back on a new run.
Yeah, this might be another attempt. I'd be surprised to see either still in or back to the basement.
Yeah, it's definitely a one-trip kind of thing. The thing about the basement, loot is loaded in there, but it does send you all the way back to the start, so you don't want to do that, obviously. The boss is on floor 20 plus, so you definitely want to get up there quickly.
So if you were doing this race, what would your approach be? I mean, you know, for some of these players, they've been doing a lot of RTA attempts, so they're willing to just roll with the punches and see what comes. Or would you play it much more slowly and you know, take the trips to the basement, level up as diligently as possible, and hope that you could just one-shot it?
As somebody who speedran Isaac and was competing in those tournaments, I think that it's pretty clear that the roguelike strategy is to re-roll for a minute or two and try and get something to start with. Anything at all, really, that seems okay. You don't want to go nuts and try and get the best weapon and, you know, reset for 20 minutes, but you do want to give it a couple goes. You don't want to just take the first thing you get if it sucks. So that's my advice for a roguelike game. I bet it is pretty universal advice. In a game like Isaac, it's especially true because in that game, your power is radically enhanced by the stuff that you find.
Right.
But in this one, you find the right weapon if you're really lucky and you're really well off.
Yeah, I mean, as we've seen time and again, you don't really have to level up fully to make this game work, but most classes aren't going to be very effective until they hit probably about level 15. So for all of these players, there's a little bit of benefit in the fact that a lot of the floors require you to kill a certain number of enemies before the key spawns, but that's really not going to be enough. So we're already seeing players kind of intentionally letting the key go and trying to kill some more enemies just to get the level ups they need.
The archer pick is going to be a troublesome thing, as we're seeing with Gaffadil right here. When they hit an enemy for one,
right?
There's a number for defense on the enemy, and if they can't overwhelm it, they're in real trouble. And the archer is the most likely to not be able to do it. Anyone might.
And there's really just nothing you can do about it, too. I mean, if you don't get the level ups, if you don't find your weapon, I mean, you're not really guaranteed to get your weapon, the good weapon for your class, even until much later. And if I'm not mistaken, Gaffadil has the magic bow. I feel like we've seen it at some point.
Yep. The archer's weird because the starting bow is actually the most likely to break the fence, but even that one, if you're unlucky, you might not be able to do it very easily. There are other solutions like magic you can use, but it's nice to be able to just kill the boss with your stuff, your regular attack.
Yeah, and with the limitations on inventory, you're very likely to just toss the starting bow if you find other weapons, and that can actually really hurt you in the long run. You know, unless we've just missed it a few times, it seems like this race is going a lot better for our players than the last one did. The last one, there was a lot of death looping in the first few floors, but while we've definitely seen evidence that a few deaths might have already happened, at least. I feel like gameplay has gotten a lot more consistent at this point. The players seem to be able to handle what they see a lot better.
Yeah. There was a lot of it was like a 40-minute race last time because there were some wipeouts for everybody. Somebody died on the boss, I think. Like, it was rough. Being cautious
This is a surprisingly hard game. If you haven't played this game yet and you've only watched, people like Smite play it, I mean, a lot of our players and Smite make this game look pretty easy, but let me tell you, as someone who is not a certified gamer, this game's tough. So, like, it was unsurprising to me personally to see that many full wipes and really kind of heartbreaking losses in our last race. At this point, I feel like everyone's just gotten so much better. Everyone's just completely outclassing the game at this point.
Yeah, this is a game where you can be doing extremely well, and if you're not careful, if you're greedy with your resources, if you don't have them ready as soon as you're in trouble, you're just gonna... one enemy will just wipe you out before you can get unstunned. There are certainly ways to protect yourself, but they're ways that you take for granted, even if you have the solution. Like, there's a ring someone was using here, I think it was Moonberry.
Yeah, the Ring of Power.
Yeah, it's an immortality ring, so if you get in trouble, you just switch that on. Things like that exist, and if you use them, you'll certainly reduce the chance of that happening, but enemies can wipe you out real fast at any point. You're never truly safe.
Ring of Power feels like such a power play because you're so inclined to not choose to use it because it just drains your SP bar. But at the same time, that can make the difference between a run being won or lost, and just holding it as your held item and being ready to turn it on in a moment's notice has very clearly been the winning strategy so many times for Moonberry. I mean, we see Moonberry using it right now. Moonberry being unwilling to be overwhelmed by the blue slimes, which the way the blue slimes work is they always spawn in a room with the key, and you have to kill one of the smallest ones in order to turn it on, in order to make the key actually work. So you have no choice but to engage with it, and it is a garbage enemy.
Easy to get stunned by those, and they give you a lot of money at least, which we'll see if Moonberry has 69 smackers. They can get one potion.
Yeah, we haven't seen all the floor changes. That's our only opportunity to tell who's on what floor. Glumbaron just entered floor 12. Moonberry is, I believe, on floor 14. I don't remember which one we saw, 14 or 15.
I think it's 14 because the monk is there, ready to give the weapon for Moonberry, which is, I don't know if they need it or not, but it's going to give them throw, which is a stun lock. Really nice fighter extravagance.
Yeah, we need to see what floor Eric's is on, because Eric's has done so well in these races. It's very possible that Eric's is just, like, completely evading our notice and slipping ahead. Yeah. The other really interesting thing about the Archer is that if the Archer gets... Okay, Eric's is on 14. If the Archer gets good level ups, if the stats go up properly, the Archer can easily just wreck the final boss. There's a lot of easy strategies for making the final boss at least trivial to deal with, even if it takes some time. And if you get the right level ups, you can actually be dealing enough damage to make it happen more quickly.
Yeah, if you don't get the level ups, it's going to take an actual 300 shots plus maybe 200 more. It takes quite a few. It'll take a couple minutes to kill the boss, but you can do it safely even in that case.
Of course, by contrast, if you're getting the money drops and you're not feeling like you have to blow them on potions or something like that, picking up those Thunder Scrolls can make a huge difference. They deal, what, 50 damage?
I think so, something like that. 40 or 50.
Yeah, so that much damage to the final boss. I mean, the final boss only has 300 HP. Now, it has such a high defense rating that if you don't have the attack rating to beat that, you're only going to deal 1 damage apiece, which is where the Archer gets into trouble. It's the reason why the Archer is such a difficult class to do. It's safe, but it's weak against the final boss. You come in there with enough Thunder Scrolls, though, and that's no problem.
Yep, you can drop... There's no iframes, so you can just drop all 6 instantly and the boss is done. Can be done. I really like the Moonberry power ring on the slime strat that we've seen 3 times at least in this one run here. Floor 17 getting real close. Floor 14. Here's Eric's and Panacea.
You know, I feel kind of silly for not expecting it to be a one and done. I really did think that we were going to see something more similar to last time, where it took a few tries to really get a good run going. But there are several players here who look like they're just going to one-shot this, no problem.
Yep, we are 13 minutes in, and I think everyone's in the top teens floors here. So what we're going to be looking for is the Blue Knight and Gold Knight on floor 20, and if they go past floor 20, they can just keep looking for that boss. He'll be around. It just won't be as easy.
Panacea's only a few floors behind too, and you have to keep in mind things change so quickly in this game. If any of our players die, it's back to the first floor, starting over completely. So someone being behind by a few floors doesn't mean anything.
You can also get lucky and just jump through these floors in seconds.
Right.
If the key is in a nice place. There's a couple of floors like this big golem that tiny golem that Moonberry's fighting have to die, so that's a slower floor, but they're not all like that. I would say probably 15 of the 20 floors don't require you to kill a specific enemy on them.
Yeah, there's I think specifically several of the runners use splits that point out which floors require specific enemies. I think it comes out to something like what you said, like a third of the floors or something like that have a specific enemy you have to kill, which is kind of an interesting twist.
So the Knight is the worst class because it's gear dependent, and it really doesn't gain a truckload of stuff from gear. It's like at best mediocre, so we aren't seeing any Knights. The Wizard, like you said, is dangerous, but it is the boss killer, and that's why it has the world record. When it gets a good run going, the boss dies instantly when the Wizard walks in. The Wizard doesn't need anything. The Wizard needs its main attack weapon, which they'll get for free on the quest by the time they get to the boss, and then that's the end of it.
Eric's already on 19. I mean, we're just trucking through this right now.
Moonberry's on 19, fighting the boss 20.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, so Moonberry is in line to finish this out, and for what it's worth, Moonberry is playing as the fighter who can stun lock the boss, so we might be seeing it right here.
Yeah, this looks good. Oh, there's the immortality. I don't see how this can fail.
Moonberry's just not willing to risk it, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, no reason not to have that ring on the whole time, honestly. I don't know why it's off. I wouldn't mess with it. So the boss is taking 7. So, you know, you divide 300 by 7, and that's how many smacks you need here, and it's adding up real fast.
Yeah, I think we're just a few hits away.
There's Moonberry's audio for real. There it is. 15:55, first clear. Moonberry wins this one.
Amazing. So we probably got Eric's about on the boss at this point, right?
Looks like Eric's is looking for the boss.
Okay.
Yes. That's exactly what's happening. Eric's has the key. That's a very important thing. You want to separate the boss from the key so you don't set it off and leave the floor, which was done.
It is so easy to make that mistake. It's looking like Eric's is going to come in at number 2. Really close behind.
Hitting the boss for 6 with the archer is very
nice.
Wow,
that's amazing. That's really good leveling. Typically, you can really only get numbers like that if you level to 20. I don't think Eric's actually got to 20. That must have been some really good rolls.
They might switch to the magic bow here. It will hit faster. I would. It hit for 3. Well, there it is. Second place to Eric's.
Easy. Well done to Eric's.
It's a 24 game. Yeah, so a run of this game. I mean, they're getting really good times. 15 minutes. That's really nice time.
Yeah, keep in mind our last race, we didn't get our first clear until what, 45 minutes in, 50 minutes in, something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really impossible to know. With a roguelike like this, it really comes down to how consistent can you play. and our players just got so much better in the few weeks since.
It's raining nights on Glumbaron. See, that's the kind of thing that could get you killed right there. I don't know if they have a heal, but they're in a little dangerous spot here. Oh.
Oh no. Oh no.
They died.
Fortunately, they... Oh god.
Glumbaron got taken out.
Survive that one.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and put Panacea on this screen as well. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. So it looks like Glumbaron's going to take a DNF on this one. I mean, I kind of get it.
Yeah, I understand.
What a good run from Glumbaron. Glumbaron was easily going to take third, but, you know, it's like what we were saying before. No run is really sold until you finish the final boss. Anything can happen. Looks like Gaffadil's going to take it a little bit safe here, probably trying to get the key to spawn far away from the boss, yeah. So key spawned in there, boss went into the bottom room. Keep them as far apart as possible to keep it safe. It's not the end of the world if you leave this floor, but if you leave this floor, that means that you're going to gamble every single floor hoping to find the boss. And this right here is the... Yeah, go ahead.
Hitting for 5 with the short bow, the long bow here, which is very, very fast. So
yeah,
that's really nice.
This won't be long. This won't be long at all. That's what, 60 hits?
Yeah, so that's 1 damage less than the short bow that you start with in exchange for this attack speed. Which, if you can hit for 5, if you can hit for 2, it's worth you. If you can hit for 5, though.
Gaffadil got a little bit lucky there. The ghost, I mean, doing that in a ghost room was a recipe for trouble, but the ghost managed to not disrupt things too much.
Yeah. The ghost at that point can't do anything but stun. The ghost is a real menace at the start, but your defense goes up too, and when it gets over their attack, you take one damage from the ghost. But it does stun, and that messes things up. Fantasy is on pace to clear this because they have an extra life. Like, I don't feel like they're in any danger at all.
Yeah. Just, it's more of a question of how long is it going to take with whether or not they got good level ups.
Doesn't look like they have a lot of damage because they're hitting this golem for 1.
Oof.
Which means that they're going to be hitting the boss for 1 as well. Because the golem has a lot of defense, but I don't think they have as much as the boss.
Looks like they're taking advantage of the iframes you get in the doorway. We mentioned it in our last race, and every time we talked about this game. But for those of you who don't know, the game's a little bit kind. It doesn't want you to get ambushed going through a door. So you get about 2 seconds of invulnerability every time you walk into a room. And so you can kind of use that to your advantage, especially knowing that this mini golem is who you have to kill in order to leave this floor. You can just walk through the door back and forth in order to reset that invulnerability.
Well, this is Magic Castle. It's the new PS1 game. It's free. You can emulate it. You can get it to run on hardware if you have the stuff to do that. I've seen people do it. It's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with this game. I haven't played every SpeedBump game. I've watched them all and I've learned how they all work, but this is one that I got involved in pretty heavy. It's a lot of fun. If you like roguelikes at all, this is the game. This is the game to play. It's free and it's good. It's not Hades, but for a PS1 game, it's pretty damn good.
It's extremely good for what it is, and it's a lot of fun to play. Oh, it runs on a PS1 Classic? Nice. I guess that makes sense. Well, we really had some great runners for this one. This was awesome. Everyone put in a lot of effort. Most of our regulars showed up. Everyone took to this pretty well, and I'm glad that it went as well as it did.
I think what we're seeing with Fantasy here is what happens in roguelike sometimes. I was saying I raced Isaac in tournaments. I raced Isaac at MagFest one time, and I got the absolute worst garbage, and I had no chance at all. And that's the kind of leveling that Fantasy has with hitting for 1s compared to the other 2 that were hitting for 5 and 6. Just bad luck on the rolls. Not much you can do about that. This is the Archer's curse. It can happen to any of the classes, though. I had bad rolls on Fighter one time, and it still happened to me, but the Archer has the lowest damage just in general, I think. So it's most likely to happen to them.
What's really amazing is that the way damage calculation works, because of how simple it is, just, your attack minus their defense, and it can't go negative. Because of that, the difference between this archer and the other two archers, Eric's and Gaffadil, is really just the difference of a few of the level ups being bad rolls. Like, that's all it takes to end up in a situation like this.
Yep, they might have actually gotten a couple extra levels. I'm not sure. They were not like 15 as I would say the baseline. They were like 16, 17 leveled. Maybe that extra level or two made a huge difference. Yeah, level 14, and all of a sudden we're hitting for 3. See how much of a difference? Killing that bat would have been a better strategy than grinding them. Just, the red bat flew in front, gave them the XP they needed. Now they're doing 3 times as much damage. That's how much difference a level can make when it boosts you past their defense. So I don't remember what the defense on the golem is, but let's say it's 30, and they were hitting for 20, 29. Now they're hitting for 32. So boss is dead. 419.
It's kind of a rough system. I think ideally, you wouldn't just calculate damage as attack minus defense, but it does create these really funny scenarios just like that one, where you go from dealing no damage to dealing, 3 times as much damage after killing one enemy.
The bat that is supposed to be a harassment bat ends up just being XP for free. Yeah, I think they're gonna want to get some levels if they can, unless they have a lot of Thunder Scrolls. They're avoiding that one on the floor. Is that a warp scroll?
That was definitely a warp scroll, and I would avoid it too. I wouldn't even want that in my hands, just in case.
Oh, there's an opportunity here to have the golem kill the Red Knight, which would be really helpful. That's 26 damage a punch. There it is. Well, we're here on the final floor with the friendly fire kill. That's really nice to see. You don't get to see that very often. $200 invested in Thunder Scrolls is going to make short work of the boss.
Oh,
actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's most of the boss's second form. Not all of it, but pretty close. So
yeah, I would just take out the Blue Knight myself and then just let loose 5 Thunder Scrolls.
Yeah, and then you just have 50 shots left. And you got a Fire Scroll, which is also going to add up some damage. Fire Scroll lights the room on fire, permanently. It permanently lights the room on fire, and all the enemies constantly take damage from the fire on the floor, and they get stunned by that too. A lot of this game is that first hit. Once they're on the floor stunned, you can start beating them up safely. The fighter is probably the one that has the most trouble getting that first hit to safely happen. If you play this game and you're having trouble getting gotten by slimes, we all have. It's happened to everybody.
Oh, there was the Blue Knight.
Yeah, I think they want either levels or the key to drop in here.
Yeah, I think that they're specifically just trying to get the key to drop a little bit early. Outside that room. Though, unfortunately, the way the Blue Knight was moving, it's very possible that the Blue Knight might be heading for that room.
So the Blue Knight's gonna die faster, but he still has a truckload of defense. Too much for this archer currently. Lit this room on fire.
Okay. Alright, so this is going to be our room. Panacea really doesn't want the Blue Knight to leave this room. That makes sense.
Well, if this is your first time watching a speed bump, we do this every week, and every month we pick a new game to do it. We always have a prize, or at least we always have so far. I don't know if we always will, but we do so far. And we switch it'll either be a world record set or a race like this at the end of the month. We'll do it. So next week, we will have a new game for you. We're not going to announce a new game this week. It'll be 9:30 p.m. Eastern on Sunday night on the 7th of February that you'll get your new game. So you're going to have 7 days off here while we decide what game it's going to be, and we'll announce that game next week. And then we'll do a preliminary race. We'll check out the world records for it and all that stuff. That's what we do each week. Discord has a lot of information too on whatever game we play. That's
the Discord's fantastic for finding information. Even if you don't want to be particularly active, that is your best source for information about the game. We have some dedicated members of this community who do a really great job at finding out everything they can about the game. If it comes down to, disassembling the game, whether it's just studying it and practicing.
There he goes.
Well, there's all the Thunder Scrolls, I guess.
The boss is hurt real bad. 50 HP to go. So yeah, accidentally hitting the key right now would be I would quit. I would just give the run up.
Okay, so it didn't go into the room with the key. That's the best news possible.
I saw that fire juggling him. There it is. Yeah, that's really nice. That's handy. The fire is doing 1 damage constantly. I think this boss is really on the ropes here. He's good. Yeah, there it is. Everyone cleared
the boss was trying to make a run for it, but couldn't get through the fire. So that fire ended up being the secret weapon there.
Glumbaron came close. Was the only one who didn't finish, but got really far in. I'm surprised we didn't see more deaths. We only saw 1 out of 5. Everyone did really well. That's our race.
That went so incredibly well. Way better than I was expecting.
Moonberry has won before. They've won again. Nice work, Moonberry. Really good time on that. And right behind them, the other racers.
That was exciting. I'm really glad that we did Magic Castle. I wasn't sure what to think about doing a roguelite, but I'm really happy with how it turned out, and everyone seemed to have a really good time. So we'll try to make sure that we pick another good game for next month. It'll be similar to this one. We'll do the same thing again. Not sure whether or not it'll be a world record challenge or a race challenge, but we'll let you know at the beginning so you can prep accordingly. Yep. And next week we will show that game off.
Yeah, we're going to take a week to sample it, make sure we play through it, and see what we got. Probably retro consoles, but obviously PS1's on the menu. So
sure.
That at this point is retro, no doubt about it. There's been an argument about whether the 360 is retro, but the PlayStation definitely is. Even I'll admit to that.
I would say pretty much anything that you can reasonably emulate and have access to the games.
20 years is my mark for what I would call retro. Anything in the 2000s and before is cutting it.
Sure.
And so that's the stuff we'll be looking at. Well, thanks for joining me out the Blues. We had a good race.
Yeah, ton of fun to watch.
We'll see you next week, folks. SpeedBump. By the way, there's the Twitter. You can get the updates there. You can also get it at the website there, speedbump.run. I think I'll be on later doing Formula 2. I've been taking a week off while I got my stuff set up, but for now I'm going to take it off. I'll see y'all later.
Later.